Hey guys, FirstinWeather here. I'm glad to be back after quite a while. Finally recording a video after all my SOLs and final exams for high school were over. So now, summer vacation, I have more time on my hands to record videos. So today is June 18th, 2018. Most of you that will be seeing this video will be seeing it tomorrow morning. It is 10 p.m. When I'm it's right now. It's 10 p.m. So most of you will be seeing it early or during the day tomorrow. So what I want to talk about today in this video is the possibility for severe storms, for Tuesday. And there are definitely a few things that make me believe that the chance for severe weather tomorrow is quite significant. And if you look at the National Weather Service or if you look at the local news stations, none of them are really indicating that we have much of a chance for severe weather tomorrow. But I strongly disagree, and here's why. So here is the NAM 3KM model. Alright, this is the 18Z run, and if we take this through, so this is Tuesday morning, nothing much, right? One thing I want to know is the dew points. Alright, so if we go to the dew points, look at that. At 18Z Tuesday, or around 18Z Tuesday, you have dew points in the 70s, mid to upper 70s. That is crazy, and that is very good for thunderstorm development. And high dew point levels really help in making those big, very powerful thunderstorms. And now if we go back to the precipitation, and we go through, and now this is 21Z Tuesday, so right around rush hour traffic when people are headed back from work. And you look at this right here, you have this primary band of cells right here forming. And keep in mind, this is just one particular model. So what this model is saying is just one solution to the things that might happen tomorrow. But according to this model, you're going to have a primary band right here, and then behind that you'll have a secondary band right here. And so if this were the case, the main threat for severe weather would be with this band right here, because after this band the atmosphere would be stabilized, and this really wouldn't pose a severe weather risk. So now 21Z Tuesday, right? So we go back a couple hours. Alright, so let's just say hypothetically that this is exactly what happened. The location of the cells was spot on, everything was 100% accurate, right? So if that was the case, the area over here would be stabilized, so that's why the storms here wouldn't be that severe. But if you look closely, you'll see that the storms never really formed here. So this line would be very strong and potentially severe on the eastern side. And if we look at the weather sounding for 19Z Tuesday, ahead of this big line that's forming, and that's headed into high dew point levels and favorable conditions for severe weather, and we look at the sounding, absolutely crazy stuff. There. This is 20Z Tuesday, so there's more time for the atmosphere to bake and get more convective energy. So if we look at the sounding, look at this. Look at the CAPE levels in the 4,000 area. That's very high CAPE, quite high. To get a thunderstorm, you need CAPE most times over 1,000. We're talking 4,080 right here in this particular run. And so you have a lot of CAPE right here, all in this area right here. Alright, so it's quite a bit of CAPE, but not just that, there's a lot of other things too. So if you look at the dew points, right, very high, 76, right, and then you suddenly go into this big dry layer right here. Alright, that also is a good sign of very convective, very strong thunderstorms with strong updrafts, right? And now also, if you look at the winds, you'll see that the winds are strongly veering, meaning that they're turning clockwise. And when they turn clockwise, that means that warm air is being invected into the storm, or is being invected into the atmosphere in that particular area. And when you know that when warm air is being invected into an area, that air is going to rise, and that's going to cause thunderstorms. Alright, so you have multiple things going for a very stormy and potentially severe weather event tomorrow. because you have these very high Cape values. First of all, you have these winds rotating clockwise, which is also very good for severe thunderstorms. You have this very high dew point here that suddenly collapses into a very low dew point over here, which is good for convective thunderstorms. And look at this, you have cloud tops probably above 45,000 feet tomorrow in a lot of these storms. And also, if you look at the PWatt values, 1.97 inches, so that means you have the potential to see very heavy localized rainfall in some areas. All right, so that really is a good sign for severe weather. So this is, if we go back, you'll see that this is around 20Z Tuesday. So you have this huge, just very baked and primed atmosphere for these thunderstorms. So as those storms come through, they're going to rapidly intensify and bring severe weather, most likely. And so 21Z Tuesday, this band just basically explodes as it hits basically this little wall right here of ideal conditions. Once it hits this wall, it's going to explode into a strong line of storms. All right, and then that goes through. But one thing I want you to keep in mind is 22Z Tuesday, so that is around 6 o'clock. So once you get that sun angle to lower, once you get that daytime heating, keep in mind the key factor for these storms to explode tomorrow is going to be those really hot temperatures, those high dew points. After 6 or 7, those temperatures start to lower a little bit. You're going to see those Cape values significantly decrease. For example, by 23Z Tuesday over here, it's not that impressive. I mean, yes, you still have pretty high Cape values, but it's still not that impressive. And if you go back here, if you go down here, or up there, you'll see Cape values aren't that high. They're still very impressive, yes, but they're not as high as those astounding numbers up here. And if you go over here, you'll see, again, same thing, slightly lower, but still very high amounts. So if we go back, this goes through, and then as we get later into the night, Tuesday, you'll see that it really does start to weaken. As you can see, as we lose that daytime heating, Cape values are quite low, and the severe weather threat is pretty much diminished. So that's why in this area, in the southern third of Virginia, the severe weather threat shouldn't be that high compared to the northern third of the state. While in here, you basically have a pretty good chance of severe weather, but just not as high as this area, because you still have pretty high Cape values over here. And now that I'm looking at it again, I'm thinking of raising the severe weather threat over here a little bit, now looking at the new soundings. So yeah, so as you can see, conditions tomorrow are very loaded for severe weather. You have a pretty good chance of seeing severe storms in the northern part of the state tomorrow. So now let's get to my forecast. So this is my severe weather forecast for tomorrow. As you know, the National Weather Service makes these severe weather outlooks, and if you look at the National Weather Service, their forecast, give me 1 minute. As you can see, they're only predicting a marginal risk of severe weather, and this is something I strongly disagree with for tomorrow. And I'm showing you why. So that just shows you the stark contrast I have with their forecast. And as you know, they make those marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, or high risk scenarios for severe weather. So here, if I was the National Weather Service, and if I was going to make a forecast for tomorrow, this is what I would make. Obviously, this isn't their official forecast, but this is what I would make it to be if I was the National Weather Service. So here it is. So I'm predicting. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. So here it is. So in the northern third of the state, I'm going with an enhanced risk of severe weather, which is the level 3 out of 5 in the severe weather index. Now, in the middle of the state, this includes Richmond, this includes Charlottesville. Actually, no, not Charlottesville, my bad. This includes Richmond, Henrico, Chesterfield, Goochland, most of Hanover, all these counties right here in central Virginia, a slight risk of severe weather. And finally, in the lower third of the state, I'm going to go with a marginal risk of severe weather, because as those storms progress south, the sunlight is going to be diminishing. You'll be approaching evening, 7 or 8 o'clock, so the severe weather threat really won't be that high over here. And now, keep in mind, this severe weather forecast is based off the fact if these storms form, excuse me. And the reason for that is because there are a few models that are showing just a few scattered storms, and there are a few models that are showing a well-defined band of storms forming in the late afternoon. So this forecast is basically showing the severe weather threat if you have a nice line of storms that develop in the later part of the afternoon. And now here are some adjustments I want to make. So as you can see, I have this enhanced area over here. I might actually, now that I think about it, this enhanced area, I might push it down a little further south. So basically right through Richmond, in this line right here, right through Richmond, and then till here, following the mouse, right through here. I might lower it a little bit now looking at the data. So an enhanced risk, excuse me, for these areas above this white, above this imaginary line, excuse me, above this imaginary line, an enhanced risk of severe weather, and below that line, a slight risk, and then below that, a marginal risk for severe weather. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to making a video, probably Thursday, if not Friday, regarding my 2018 summer forecast and 2017-2018 winter forecast recap. So I'm really excited for that, guys. Stay tuned for that, and be safe out there for tomorrow. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.